I have to say, when they announced the movie, I was pretty psyched and very excited because in my community there aren't a lot of female scientists of color, and specifically engineers or even aerospace engineers. And just seeing how these stories were, in a sense, hidden due to the time of the 1960s of racism and sexism, I felt like this film really brought forth another story that hasn't been told.
I was really surprised when I saw this movie because I didn't know how rich of a history there is with NASA and just black people in general, specifically in that field. I thoroughly enjoyed being able to see black women on screen that were a part of such a dynamic field, so influential for that time period.
I don't think I have ever been more excited for a movie to come out as I was for Hidden Figures to premiere. It was an amazing movie because as a young woman who wants to go into a STEM field, I don't think I've ever seen that much blatant representation of empowering women in the STEM field.
Since I come here already almost 3 years, and I thought I learned a lot about US history and I know what's going on during that time, but people never know how painful it is before they happened to you. So it's very powerful and very true and very painful movie. And I've been crying when I'm watching it for several times.
It also talks about the issues between the relationship between racism and sexism. And I felt like it told more stories of different kinds of women that were never told before throughout history.
I've been really lucky throughout my life that I've seen many female role models in STEM fields, and it wasn't until I got older that I realized how underrepresented women were in STEM fields.
I liked how this movie focused on the struggle of the black woman because you don't usually see that on TV. Usually they show the struggle of the black man, and it's different because we're women, and so we have this interconnectedness between our gender and our race, so you can't really separate our experiences.
This movie empowered me by the personality of all the characters there, and they are very powerful and they know what they want and they know what they're doing there.
Growing up, I've always really been passionate about female empowerment, so I felt like this was a perfect film for me and my school community. And through this film, I feel like I can sort of achieve anything regardless of my gender and the color of my skin. I have to say, throughout the movie, the most specific part that really hit me was when Mary Jackson went to the judge and she said, when you want to be the first. And that really hit me specifically because I am a first-generation college student. My sister was the first to go to college, but I will be the first to leave out of state. And it's such a big staple in my family because my mother is an immigrant from Chile, and she was forced to leave our home due to a dangerous dictatorship. And my father is a Mexican immigrant, and he left Mexico to aspire for the American dream and to provide for me and my sister and my older brother. And just this film really kind of hit me more personally than many other films about scientists because I felt like it was so down to earth.
I want to go into mechanical engineering, and I've been interested in space and space travel for as long as I can remember. So to see a movie about women working on spaceships for NASA was just such an amazing experience.
So it's very new to me since I'm from a country which mostly combined by one race. So I never have this kind of issue before, or I never touched it before I come to US.
You usually don't see, at least on TV, you don't see black women in positions of power, and so I really enjoyed being able to see women who, not necessarily women I know, but women like the women I know, really come to life on TV.
For this movie, unfair is showing everywhere, but actually it still exists a lot in modern society.
It was interesting seeing the parallels between my life, or modern day life, and the movie, because even though it happened during the 60s, a lot of the issues are still prevalent today.
The reason why I really like this movie, because first it's really powerful movie, and is show how women's power can be.
It's such an honor and such an inspiration to be able to see this movie. So shout out to Fox and for all the donors and sponsors that were able to get me and my lovely community out to see this movie. Without you guys, we would not have been able to access these amazing stories.
I'm really pumped about this whole situation.
Don't you know that we're able? And that alone makes us major. We can all sit at the table and grow in this favor. Say yeah.